The 2015 general elections have come and gone, and expectations among the electorates are rising by the day. In the northern part of Nigeria, many people in the commercial city of Kano want the revival of industries to create job opportunities. In our community report tonight, we take a look at some of the expectations of the people awaiting the incoming government in Kano State.
Now you're talking.
Kano, the commercial nerve center of northern Nigeria and perhaps the second in the country. The state used to be the largest producer of textile materials with the largest textile market in the entire West African sub-region. However, things are no longer the way they used to be. Out of over 300 manufacturing industries functioning in full capacity around 80s, Kano today has less than 100 industries functioning below the factory's capacity at between 30 to 50%.
Not that far back, let's say between 88 to maybe 85. Us in Manufacturers Association in Kano, we had about over 300 and something members. As we're talking now, we just have a little over 100 members. You know, and out of these 100 members, you'll be lucky if you find 30 of, that are in full production. The rest are all, 30% production, 40% at some stage or the other.
For many years now, thousands of youth in Kano have remained idle, or more specifically jobless. Despite the increasing number of graduates plus the state government various entrepreneurship development program, youth say they are still searching for jobs.
But our problem is only 1 or 2 or 3. The first one, we do not have work. And the second one is the only we need help to find work for us. Because if we help us with the work, everything will be settled.
There are many of us who are jobless, and what we expect from this incoming government is jobs, since they have promised to give us jobs. See all those youths are sitting down. They have no jobs. There is no light, and there is no water.
Although the governor-elect will inherit many completed and ongoing developmental projects, but the task ahead, according to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, is that of addressing the problem of industrial sector, which they say will in turn provide large percentage of jobs for the state's idle youth.
The government needs to systematically look at this way we're generating power. But I think we have so many power plants concentrated in one area using the same form of generating power, which is majority of our power plants are generating through gas. Then we have the issue of vandalization of pipelines. We have the issue of even the policy of how the cost of gas to the power plants, and these are all affecting the generation of power in Nigeria. So I think the government can look into other ways. For example, us here in Kano, we can say, okay, fine, government can decide, let's tap into the abundant solar out.
However, for the governor-elect Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, consolidating the gains of the outgoing administration of Mr. Konkoso will take a center stage.
All the programs and the policies that have been put in place by the present administration will be consolidated, will be led to maturity, if I can put it that way.
With over 1 million votes to become the governor of Kano State, Mr. Ganduje is expected by the Kano resident to fulfill the promises he made to them during his election campaign. Idris Jubrin, Channels Television News.
Now you're talking.
Well, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Pt.3, has once again reiterated his promise to help resolve all commercial issues in the country with the commissioning of the Lagos Court of Arbitration Complex. Governor Fashola described the court as one purposely built to resolve arbitrary cases, which will also help in building the state's economy. He also commissioned the longest canopy walkway at the Nigerian Conservation Center and Fire Station in Lekki.
In less than 30 days from now, Governor Babatunde Fashola will hand over to a new administration, and so he is ensuring that things are put in place. He is here at the just completed Lagos Court of Arbitration, an international center for arbitration and ADR in Lekki, for the commissioning of the building.
Lagos Court of Arbitration, Center for Arbitration and Dispute Resolution.
The Executive Secretary of the Lagos Court of Arbitration explains the responsibility of the court.
Our goal is to become the preferred natural and neutral ADR institution in Nigeria, as well as on the African continent, and to enhance investor confidence in Nigeria's legal system.
Next was the handing over of the family park and the longest canopy sky walk at the Nigeria Conservation Foundation. However, the rain disrupted the ceremony.
A 401-meter long canopy skywalk, which is the longest skywalk now in the whole of Africa and the second longest in the world. Our investment in tourism is not accidental. It is a long thought out vision, and it explains our investment in transportation on a very expansive basis.
The chairman of the NCF believes the performance of the state is one that others should emulate to have a great nation.
The performance of the government, particularly in environment sustainability, has become a reference point for others to emulate. We will continue to support all environmentally responsive programs of the government.
And finally, to the handing over of the Lekki Fire Station.
We must increase our own interest in our own personal well-being and our own safety and our own security.
Infrastructural development is one major area the state government has focused on, and Lagosians will continue to remember.
While leaving Lagos to Benin City, the normal peace experienced by teachers and pupils of Igodala Primary School along Murtala Mohammed Way in the state capital was disrupted when a hole suspected to be a grave was discovered in one of the classrooms in the school. According to the headmistress of the school, the pupils marched into the classroom after the day's assembly only to meet a pit, which was freshly covered, making them to raise an alarm.
At the last count, over 20 people have been reportedly killed by rampaging cultists in Benin City, the Edo State capital, with areas such as New Benin, 2nd and 3rd East Circular Roads, as well as other parts of the city, was hit by the wave of violence. The Edo State Police Command, however, insists it is doing its best to end the serial assassinations and can indeed do better with the help of the public. This is a Igodala Primary School along Murtala Mohammed Way, Benin City. The pupils have refused to show up in school because what looks like a grave was discovered in one of the classes.
It happened that when the teacher of Primary 1A, Primary 1B opened her class, she saw a grave. But she raised alarm. They came to the office. They called me because all of them, they say they bury people in their school. Me, myself, I never know whether a person they buried or not.
The police, local government health officials from OEDU and other agencies are here to examine what was buried in the suspected grave.
We discovered that there's nothing in that hole. We have removed the duct, and we got to the stronger part, an indication that no further digging was done and nothing was found.
It's an empty site. It was initially suspected to be a grave site, but we have discovered that it's an empty place, so there is nothing inside. So it has allayed the fear of everybody that a human being may have been buried in that place. So that concludes the matter.
Their investigation reveals nothing to justify the earlier suspicion that it was a grave. Residents around the school seized this opportunity
to appeal to the government to step up security in the area and to give the school a facelift.
If they want to do anything, let them come and get this school repaired, because anybody can come and plant bomb here because there's no security. And you look at the buildings, all of them, they are collapsed. Nobody is even caring to talk about anything about.
Yeah, it's like a thief zone. It's not good. In the night when we are passing by, you normally see people smoking inside the school compound.
This incident brings to the fore the need to ensure that schools are better equipped and protected from trespass by undesirable elements in order to ensure a conducive learning environment for our children.
First Bank. You first.
Good evening, welcome to Business News. I am Adeshewa Josh. The amendment of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation Act of 2014 has been described as imperative for the regulation of the financial industry. And this is coming from the Chief Executive of FBN Holdings, Mr. Bello Machido, speaking on NDIC's request for oversight function over holding companies such as FBN's. Machido says if the new act is approved, it could complement the latest guidelines released by the central bank on the regulation of holding companies.
Regulation is good, and we are presently being regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria and other financial institutions. I am sure you are probably aware that very recently the guidelines for the operations of holding companies actually came out in April that defined how the holding companies are supposed to operate, the kind of reporting requirements of holding companies, and the kind of governance structure that holding companies should have. I must say that working as an industry group, the financial holding companies that are there, FBN Holdings PLC, Stanbic IBTC, FCMB Holdings, we work together as a group to actually nudge the Central Bank of Nigeria to ensure that these guidelines come out.
Now, tax professionals have argued that Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is currently running in low capacity. According to tax administrator Ndoin, Mark Anthony Dike, the mere basing of the nation's gross domestic product is inadequate for Nigeria's economic development. He suggests that there is pressing need to thoroughly investigate the current tax administration in some sectors of the economy and rebase the tax system of the country. The Nigeria Customs Service has commenced legal proceedings against 7 rice importers over unpaid duties. The action is coming on the heels of a notice by the Customs urging the importers to pay the excess rate of about 21.31 billion naira on or before April the 17th. According to the notice signed by the Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Diko Abdullahi, the traders had imported in excess of their total annual allocation as of April the 12th. The Customs alleged that in spite of all notifications, the importers were yet defaulting in the payment of duties and other accruable charges on the excess import. In the meantime, the Minister of Agriculture has denied granting duty waivers or recommending exceptions for rice importers. Dr. Kiyomi Adesina, who appeared before an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives in Abuja, explains that some importers owe the government duties in excess of 36 billion naira. And according to him also, some import companies tried to abuse the federal government's rice production policy by importing huge quantities of the commodity in excess of their approved quota. He noted that the policy was to cut imports and encourage local production of rice by allocating quotas to importers. The minister pointed out that the policy specifies that any importer who imports more than its allotted quota would pay 70% of duties and levies to the government. Now, midweek session at the Nigeria equities market ended in the negative territory, shedding 0.5%. Here's Tempula Shaju with the day's closing figures.
Hello
Hello and welcome to the stock market report. The downwards trend at the Nigerian stock markets continued unabated. During the midweek session, some major defensive stocks in the markets lost significantly to impact on the key benchmark indices. The all-share index slipped by half of a percentage point to close at 34,427.12, just as the market capitalization ended at 11.69 trillion naira. The market breadth was negative as 28 decliners stood against 20 price appreciators. On the laggers list, oil marketing company Forte Oil lost 6 naira 10 kobo. It was followed by Nigerian breweries with 4 naira and PZ with 1 naira 10 kobo. The gainers log had Total, which led with a gain of 7 naira 60 kobo. Now CAP, that is chemical and allied products, as well as NASCOM pulled 1 naira 78 kobo and 82 kobo each. Transcorp recorded 144.7 million units of shares, coming ahead of UBA and Access Bank to top the trades table. Now at the end of the session, 473.5 million units of shares were exchanged for the value of 3.4 billion naira, and all that took place in what? 5,110 deals. And that's it on the stock market report. I'm Temple Ashaju.
Thank you, Temple. That'll be all on Business News tonight. The News at 10 continues in a moment.
First Bank. You first.
When the News at 10 returns, World Football Governing Body FIFA selects Nigerian referee Jalili Ogumuyiwa to officiate at the Beach Soccer World Cup in Portugal. That's in sports news. Stay with us.